Hey guys, Sarah here.
Lori here.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Witchery.
I swear I think I'm going through a voice change.
You know, our voices are wonderful.
Yes.
But mine's been so raspy.
Yeah, mine's been weird lately. I go up into a high-pitched kind of weird 14-year-old boy kind of thing.
From the beginning till now, I've noticed that our voices have changed. And it's not like a bad change, but they've changed. Like the tones have changed.
And our inflection has changed. I think we've gotten more comfortable with doing this, so our inflection is more, very radio.
Professional.
More professional now. And, I remember when I was in high school, I used to date a boy who was... he worked on radio in his part-time. He worked in one of our local radio stations. And his voice was just so deep like this. And he was only like 17 years old. And it was really strange.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And the inflection, the professional inflection involved in all that.
There's such an art to it that I don't think I'll ever get to that level. You're so much better at talking on this than me.
Oh, no.
The amount of crap I cut out from me being it drives me nuts, and you're always just so, I hardly edit you at all. My voice drives me crazy. So
mine drives me crazy too, and with my accent, I'm in a bit of a disadvantage because of my accent, and I've just really over the past 15 years gotten comfortable with my accent and what it is, because people have stopped spotlighting it. And that used to make me so uncomfortable. Oh, where are you from?
Look at you.
Yeah, look at you.
And then they'll start bringing on their accent, like their southern accent. Look at you.
They'll do the imitation southern accent, and you're just like,
It's like, the worst imitation, though, is imitation Boston accent. Just don't.
Don't do that.
You sound ridiculous.
Don't do that.
It sounds awful.
And to hear a southern person do it is even worse.
God.
I have people ask me when we go home sometimes, they're like, "Oh, have you packed the car in Harvard Yard?"
No,
I'm like, "Please don't."
That's not how it's like.
And that's not even how it sounds.
Yeah, unless you're born here and you live in Roxbury, just don't.
And it's funny, people assume that a lot of people think that because you live in Massachusetts that you talk like that, but no, that's specifically Boston.
Yeah, people, when I was out traveling, nobody could tell where I was from. Like, nobody could guess, because, I lived in so many kind of random places that I don't even think I have an accent, but everybody says that.
Roger doesn't.
Roger doesn't. I would never know.
He grew up 45 minutes away from me, and he doesn't. People think I moved up here to marry him. They don't get. But he was in the Marine Corps for a long time, and he took on sort of the tone and the inflections and the dialect of a lot of different people, and it kind of turned him into this Midwestern kind of accent. But it is funny, there are some things he says that make me want to beat my head against this wooden table right now, like the word phone. Yeah, phone.
Yeah,
because I say phone, and he says phone, like long O, phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the only difference between a southern accent and a northern accent is the vowel. That's it. And he says his vowels very differently than I do. But the word phone and home, it makes me want to literally take my head and beat it against my windshield of my car. It drives me crazy. I don't know where that came from, but he doesn't have a sign of a southern accent. You would never know.
No.
Not even when he goes home, he doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, somewhere else, I always pick up the accent. I don't even mean to. And it's just I remember when I lived down south in Asheville, I started to because I worked in customer service, and I would just talk to people all the time, and I still kept y'all. I use y'all all the time. It just became part of my vocabulary, and I lost some of I talked slower there. I talked so slow there because nobody understood what I was talking about. It was like, you need to slow down, honey.
And all over the place, it's different. I mean, even North Carolina, it has so many different accents.
Very much.
I mean, I'm from close to Tennessee, so we talk really fast. We talk super fast. But then the farther south you go, the slower it gets. And then you get down to a place like Alabama, and again,
Alabama.
Tom Hanks had perfection in an accent in Forrest Gump.
Oh. That's
perfection.
one of my favorite movies.
I start crying at the beginning of Forrest Gump when the feather starts coming down at the very beginning.
Because I know I'm in for a ride. I love that movie. It's so brilliant, and it gets, as soon as he starts talking, my heart explodes. Even thinking about it, I'm getting all teary-eyed. Oh, Tom.
I need to watch that again. I just love almost everything. Tom Hanks, if you'd ever like to be on our podcast, if you're listening, which I'm sure you're not, but if you were, I would die if you came on our podcast.
You know, if I had a choice between Tom Hardy and Tom Hanks, I would pick Tom Hanks.
Yeah, me
on
too.
This podcast. What a nice dude.
He is such a nice guy.
Crazy. And who's his wife? I always forget her
Rita
name.
Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was with him in that movie Volunteers way back in the 80s. That's how they met.
Oh, interesting. Wasn't he? He was in Big.
Uh-huh.
And what's the one where he's like the bachelor party?
It's Bachelor Party.
Is it?
Yeah. You know that movie where he's in the Bachelor Party? Bachelor
Party. Oh my God.
And he was in so many comedies for so long, and then just all of a sudden went to drama and knocked it out of the park with Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my God.
I mean, I just can't even I don't have words for that movie. Castaway.
I forgot about Wilson.
Wilson, I'm sorry.
When did that come out? It seems like forever ago.
Yeah, it was like the 90s, I think.
Yeah, it must
or
have
late
been.
90s, early 2000s, Castaway.
Because a movie's never really been made like that. Mm-mm. Like a high production movie, if like some dude just like castawayed on an island.
I mean, you think about all these brilliant actors we have out here. I mean, brilliant American actors, which don't get the credit they deserve. I mean, I think Tom Hanks gets the credit he deserves. Everybody loves him.
Everybody loves him.
Leonardo DiCaprio gets the credit he deserves. I mean, he's so amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Did you see The Revenant?
It's one of my favorite movies.
I loved the fact that he won an Oscar because he deserved it. I wasn't a fan of the movie, but I thought this guy...
Yeah. It wasn't the movie he should have got it for, even though it was good and worth it.
But he just acted his ass off.
There's so many other movies that he's done. Like
Blood Diamond.
I loved Catch Me If You Can.
His accent in Blood Diamond was impeccable.
Yeah.
I mean, I wait for people's accents to break. Mm-hmm. I love looking for that in a movie. I'm a sport that way. I like to look for accents to break.
Yeah.
That Leo's accent in Blood Diamond never breaks. And the elegant death scene where he's up on that hill and he's talking to Jennifer Connelly's character.
Oh,
and
I haven't seen that for so long.
Oh my gosh, what an elegant death. And I was just talking about that with a friend of mine earlier, that Leo doesn't die in many movies. But when he does a death,
he knows what's up.
It's perfect.
I mean, Titanic, it just set the stage.
I haven't seen Titanic in so long.
I thought you said you didn't see Titanic.
Oh, no, I was like,
we need to sit and watch that then for 4 hours.
Have you seen, and this is one that I've been looking for, and I can't find it anywhere, not on any streaming platform at all, The Basketball Diaries?
I love that movie.
How much do I love that stinking movie?
I don't know why. I love that movie so much.
My friend and I, that movie came out when I lived in Hawaii, and my friend Angie, we used to go to the movies every weekend because her husband and my husband were in the same unit, and they would go out and do drills and stuff, and we'd get bored and we'd go to the movies. And we'd go see stuff that intentionally that nobody else was going to go see. Mm-hmm. And we went to see Basketball Diaries, and that movie so profoundly affected me
amazing.
I would wake up thinking about that movie.
Yeah.
How powerful Leonardo DiCaprio's performance was in that movie. I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. Just knocked it out, and never got any type of acclaim for that movie.
God.
But I've looked for that movie on every streaming platform and can't find it.
I don't know.
Everyone. I mean, I've even looked on obscure platforms and
weird.
Nope, it's not out there.
I wonder why.
That is it's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. I mean, I love Leo.
I love Leo too.
I love looking at his face whenever he's in a movie, even in The Revenant. I didn't care.
I almost watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape the other day.
Oh.
Talk about another movie that I can't even think about without bawling my eyes out. That movie actually really impacted me.
Yeah,
I saw it when I was really young, and there were so many concepts in it that at the time I didn't understand. And through every couple years or so, I've watched it again, and I get more out of it. Every time I watch, I'm like, holy crap, this movie's...
There are that movie, there are so many stories in that movie. You have to watch it 8 to 10 times to get everybody's story. Mm-hmm. And I don't like Juliette Lewis. I've never claim to enjoy her because I don't. I think her acting. Every movie she's in, she's acting like Juliette Lewis.
Okay.
You ever say, like, I feel that way about certain people. Like, every movie she's in, she's Juliette Lewis. And I can't escape that. That piece. Brad Pitt, love him, but for most of his career, he spent playing Brad Pitt.
Yeah. He plays himself.
He plays himself.
Yeah.
And that's just...
He's not really a character actor.
No, and I would much rather see a character actor. I like to see people who just dive into and almost become insane with, like, Shia LaBeouf. I love Shia LaBeouf because I think he is a character actor. He's one of the best I've ever seen.
What about, who's the guy in The Illusionist? I can never think of his name.
Oh, gosh.
He's freaking amazing. Oh, my God. He's in Psycho. Right? I can never think
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I love Christian Bale. Have you seen American Psycho?
It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh.
I'm surprised it didn't come up when we were talking about horror movies. Why?
That is one of the greatest.
It's one of the greatest movies.
I mean, he's a real character actor. He's lost, like, weight for movies. He's gained weight for movies. He's done.
Or The Machinist. The Machinist. Wow.
He just turns into. And I love Mel Gibson. I think Mel Gibson turns into whoever he's playing. I think Kevin Costner does not. Kevin Costner is one of those who's Kevin Costner playing Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
I think he's gorgeous, and I think he's a really nice fella, but I do not enjoy his acting, except for in a couple of movies. You know what movie I really hate? I mean, like, have you ever had a movie that you hate so much it makes you mad?
Yep.
I hate Bull Durham so much that it makes me mad.
What is it?
Bull Durham.
I've never heard of it.
Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon. It's about a minor league baseball player who's like a rebel, and he falls in love with this English teacher, and oh my God, it's the stupidest movie I've ever seen. I'm getting mad. Like, if you had a blood pressure cuff on me right now, my blood pressure, I can hear my blood pressure in my ears right now. I hate that. That movie makes me angry. I hate it so much.
I have one of those.
What's yours?
Unbreakable.
That's the one with the with Mr. Glass.
What was that piece of trash?
Yeah.
I saw it with my mom. We were younger, and we went to the theater, and we're like, what the hell is this? We ended up walking out. I don't walk out of movies. I've even tried watching it again. It makes me so angry, that movie. It brought up things in me that I wasn't even sure.
Do you guys have movies like that? I mean, honestly, please send us a message saying that you have a movie that you hate so much it makes you angry. Mine is Bull Durham. Sarah's is Unbreakable. Honest to God, I can't. And I love baseball movies because I love baseball. Baseball's my sport. It's my jam. I'm a member of the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Really?
We're standing members of the Hall of Fame. We go there at least once or twice a year. That's one of the reasons we bought our property in Gilboa, because it's 45 minutes outside Cooperstown.
I had no idea.
I love baseball. Roger loves baseball. So it's a baseball movie. But I hate it. I honestly, I could sit here for 30 minutes and talk about why I hate Bull Durham.
And sometimes there's no reason that you can really come up with why you don't like something, but it's just like, I don't know. Well, we should just talk about movies.
Yeah.
What witch movies do you like? What are your favorite witch movies? Why haven't we talked about this yet?
I have to say, my favorite witch movie is The Craft. I love The Craft so much.
The soundtrack for The Craft is one of my favorite soundtracks. I
love The Craft, as silly as it is.
Have you seen the new one?
No.
There's a new one, and David Duchovny is the dad in it.
Your man.
My man is in it. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know where to watch it.
It'll be out on Amazon before you know.
Yeah, I wonder how it is, because I don't know.
But The Craft is one of my favorites. The Witch.
The old one?
Yep.
Have you seen the new one? There's all this controversy. Controversy around it from the I don't know the name of it. Sorry, but people have been calling out the people who made it because they made the head witch. I'm really bad with names. What's her name?
Now, The Witch, isn't that the one though with the girl in it that plays in the Queen's Gambit? Because that's the one I'm thinking of. The Witch came out in 2015.
No.
With Black Phillip.
Oh, I thought. The Witches is what I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay.
The one with the Roald Dahl wrote.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie so much. But they just came out with a new one, The Witches, and Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
So Anne Hathaway plays the lead witch. So The Witches, the older version, I think it was either early 90s or 80s, my sister and I grew up watching.
Oh,
used to scare the shit out of us. It used to scare us so much because the lead witch, like the prosthetics on it, and like the big nose, it was crazy. But the new one, Anne Hathaway plays the witch, and it's very modernized. But there's been all this controversy. There's been all this controversy because of her hands, and they made her have these claws. She only has like 2 fingers. I haven't seen it, so maybe she has more. I don't know. But a lot of people have been calling out the people who made the movie, saying they've been really insensitive because that's actually a condition.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I can't put words in people's mouths, but they were very upset that they portrayed this evil witch with this condition almost. And it really reflects upon that community. So I haven't seen it. I can't say. So
I'm sitting here trying to look for a clip as we're talking about this. But yes.
Oh, but The
Craft,
Witch.
The Craft and The Witch are my 2 favorite witch movies.
The Witch is one of the best movies ever made.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's Hocus Pocus, hands
Love
down.
Hocus Pocus.
I mean, I can't say anything else.
Practical Magic.
Practical Magic, too. I know all the lines to Hocus Pocus. I know where almost every single scene is filmed. I've probably been to most of the scenes that are filmed in Salem and Marblehead. And not last summer, because last summer was a flop, but the summer before, I went to Marblehead where they filmed the opening scene where he got his shoes stolen, and the park with the pineapple fence, and where the high school is. I know where it all is.
Now,
it's my favorite movie.
I heard that they're doing a remake of it. I heard that and all 3 of them are coming back. Kathy Najimy, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Bette Midler are coming back.
Yep. It's going to be number 2, I think. I think that was the plan of it. Unless they're going to remake it, which I haven't heard. I wonder if...
the Sanderson sisters.
If all the kids will be in it. They're not kids now.
Yeah, they're...
But, Thora Birch, she's one of my favorite actresses. She doesn't really act anymore. But she was in Ghost World. Have you ever seen Ghost World?
I've seen Ghost World, yeah.
Oh my god. She's like my idol. Just that character in Ghost World. Like, that's who I was when I was a teenager. Oh, I love, and the soundtrack for that's great too. Anyway.
So what are your favorite witchy movies?
What are your favorite witch movies? There's so many out there too.
So many good ones, but I like those movies that are kind of, that harken back to old witches, like The Witch.
The Witch.
That harken back to the old witches and just, it's anytime you have a chance to see what real witches went through as a witch, it's educating and it's letting you know that being a witch has not always been as accepted as it is now. And even now, it's not as accepted as it should be. Yeah,
there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is.
There really is.
Even now, I looked up magic online, and let me read to you what it says.
With a CK?
No, with like magic, like MAGIC. Magic the Gathering came up.
Nice.
Oh no, not magic. I looked up witches.
I just looked up magic with a CK, and the first 5 entries all mention Aleister Crowley.
Oh. Witch definition. Have you ever seen Witcher? I know it's not like a witch.
I don't know.
It's on Netflix. It came out like not last year.
The guy? It's a guy.
Yeah, it's based off a video game.
Yeah.
Or a story or
we
something.
Watched, I think, 3 or 4 episodes and I lost interest.
Yeah, I loved it. I really fell in love with it.
But that's another you talk about misconceptions, that men can't be witches. There are male witches out there, folks.
Totally. You can call yourself whatever you want.
Absolutely. You can call yourself whatever you want. And a warlock and a witch are not the same thing, so.
But this is the definition in the dictionary. Witch. A woman thought to have magic powers, especially evil ones. Popularly, oh my god, I can't talk today. Popularly depicted.
Wow.
My brain. Okay, I'm gonna start over. A woman thought to have magic powers, especially evil ones, usually depicting wearing a black cloak and pointed hat and flying a broomstick. That's what's in the dictionary.
Wow. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Verb. Cast an evil spell on. What is that?
That's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't witches out there who do cast evil spells. They do. Yeah. And I'm not going to condemn anybody for that because it's all about your intent. It's you do you. And, you know, that's just how there are. But there's so much more to being a witch than what they're telling you there. I've not worn a black cloak I mean, give me one, I'll probably wear it.
I would wear it.
You know, but Sarah and I have been talking a lot about like the myths and, you know, trying to dispel myths about witchery and what exactly it means and casting spells. We've been asked a lot about spells and altars and things like that. And I think that it always comes back to, and we can talk all day about altars, what you could have on your altars, spells, different types of spells, what you need for spells, a regular toolkit that you need to do spells. But in the end, being a witch is all about intention.
Yeah, when it comes down to it.
It comes with manifestation of the things that you are willing to have happen. But to have that happen, you have to take some action.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it is so much about intent, and so many people miss the point that a lot of witches perform all kinds of spells that have nothing to do with anything evil or black or dark or to hurt anyone.
And spells to them, it might mean something different than what the general public means. Like us, a spell is an intent. Yes. It's like it's you focusing and putting your energy towards something.
That's once a week I do a spell for peace in the house. And basically the incantation is give me peace in my home, give me peace within my family, give me peace within my friends. And I burn a purple candle.
Yeah.
That's basically the extent of my spells. I don't, and as far as binding spells, not spells, things like tying a knot and going through the process of the spell that you're trying to do and then wearing it until it falls off. And then that's supposed to, be the point where the spell actually manifests.
But to me, that gives somebody else the power, right? It's almost like when you do something like that, like you tie the knotted braid on your wrist until it falls off, that almost like is giving the power of what will happen over to somebody else, or like over to like the universe or God. And I'm like, that's kind of not the point. Like, for me, that's not the point. Like, to me, the power is within me in my relationship with what's around me.
Exactly. The energy that's around you, the elements that are around you. Yeah. That's what's important. And I know that, a lot of people follow, especially beginner witches, but this is what you do in any case when you're a beginner at something. You follow it to the letter.
Yeah.
But I think that as you learn more about the world of witchery, you start to realize so much is intent that if you have to burn a pink candle in a ceremony or a spell and you don't have a pink candle, that doesn't mean that you can't do the spell. You could use a white candle. You could use a green candle. You could use whatever you want to use as long as your intentions are there.
Yeah.
Then if a spell calls for an amethyst and you use a clear quartz, you're good.
You're good. Yeah, because the meanings behind things were made up's not the right word. I don't know where a lot of them came from.
Interpreted
in different ways. Like white in one section of witchcraft means something different than another. Same thing within religion. And a lot of the symbolism behind colors are actually dictated by religion a lot of the time. So,
and a lot of this was passed down, just like fables and folktales was passed down word of mouth.
Yeah.
And you know how that happens. You know how word of mouth starts one way and then it ends up the other. If you've ever played telephone, you know that. And because it's oral, it starts out oral, it changes and morphs depending on who's telling the story and depending on what their intent is.
Yeah.
So if you're out there struggling for a spell because you don't have a pink candle, just remember, if your intention is there, it's okay.
Yeah. You can even imagine the candle. If you want.
Sure. You can imagine the candle. I mean, I've done so many spells in my head.
Yeah, me too. That's where I do my...
so many in my spells, or I write them down.
Yeah, they're mostly affirmations, my spells. I've realized over the years is I think the only spells I do is usually like the ones we did for Samhain. That's really the only time I actually do them.
Spells.
Ceremonial spells where like I'm putting my intent towards something. like more like affirmations. Like when I'm in the shower, sometimes I'll sing a song to myself about like washing away the things I don't need. Mm-hmm. That's a spell. Or when I'm meditating, telling myself, you're going to have a good day. Mm-hmm. Look at all the things you've accomplished. You're going to have a good day.
And think about what you need. Think about in terms of when you're meditating, if you imagine a box with a note in it, what's on that note? What piece of wisdom do I need today? I'm drawing from my energy. I'm drawing from the energy from the universe. What message do I need to get me through this day? Mm-hmm. That's a spell.
Yeah. Because I do believe, like, we do, like, as witches, utilize the energy around us, mm-hmm. too. But we don't depend on the energy around us to solve our problems for mm-hmm. us.
It's a very proactive sort of thing. Spells, as much as they are defined as something other than proactive, they really are proactive. They require mm-hmm. action. Mm-hmm. You can't just bury a person's name in the dirt and expect it to will it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. Awesome, maybe. Mm-hmm. But like, there's no proof, so I mm-hmm. tend to stay away from that. And I get why people do, because I have. Mm-hmm. Just be like, you know what, I just need some magic pill to make myself feel better. I'm going to just like do this spell and like put it out of my brain. Yep. But that's good too.
So much of it is symbolic.
Intent. Yeah, it's so symbolic and not downplaying people doing spells. I think it's awesome.
I mean, think about binding ceremonies where you're trying to bind someone so that they don't hurt you or other people. Mm-hmm. If you happen to get, a piece of them, like something they own, a possession, and you mm-hmm. wrap a bow around it and you bind them. I bind you from doing harm to yourself. I bind you from doing harm to others. Something has to go forward from that.
Yeah.
But if that's what helps you to cut this person off, someone who's bad for you, someone who doesn't lead to your highest and best, then that's going to do it.
Yeah, it creates a symbolism of mm-hmm. cutting the person off. And it's like, our brains are so complex and complicated. Mm-hmm. And almost like making that decision in a physical way, like binding the person, in your brain, almost like something turns and you're like, okay, now it's done. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about doing spells is it solidifies mm-hmm. decisions like that too.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's very metaphorical. Yeah. It's so spells, guys, can be anything that you want them to be. I mean, it's all about your intent in doing them. So don't be disappointed if you don't have a rose quartz that you have to do the spell with. Don't be disappointed in that. You can make a spell mm-hmm. fit you regardless of the color of the crystal, regardless of the color of the candle, things like that. Those are all kind of superficial pieces. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay spells, but they are more of the superficial piece of a spell. Your intent is the solid, cemented portion of that spell. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's just kind of what we're getting at. And spells are all about intent. Yeah. Just like I think altars are all about intent.
I think so too.
I know that sounds kind of vague, and I don't mean for it to sound that way.
No, it's a huge topic, so I think mm-hmm. you're doing good, like putting it together.
I mean, my altar, and we'll put pictures up of our altars. Mm-hmm. An altar is a space for you to hold space for you, for your intentions.
Yes.
That's what your altar is. Yeah. And that altar can be anything that makes it personal to you. Like right now, I'm looking at my altar over here. I have a rose quartz. I have 2 rose quartz. I have an amethyst. I have a bamboo plant. I have my wand. I have a candle, a pink candle. And I have my singing bowl and my incense crock. Or my saging crock. And that changes every week.
Yeah.
Because I don't need rose quartz every day. I don't need to worry about leading with love on certain weeks. Sometimes I'm like, I need something that symbolizes leading with love because I'm not feeling the love this week. Yeah. And it's been a pretty gosh darn hectic week so far. So I needed the rose quartz.
Yeah. I love altars. I think my altar is my favorite thing because it's so versatile.
And it's so personal.
It reflects what you're going through and in fact, it reflects the environment. It reflects how you're doing mentally, things that you're working towards. I love honoring ancestors. Mm-hmm. Big part about
sometimes I put pictures.
Yeah.
Like my mom. I had a picture of my mom there a couple of weeks ago. You have to make it your own. And to to say, oh, what do you have on your altar? Because I don't know what to put. Just all you really need to do is just sit and just think about it. Just sit and breathe. It'll come to you. It will come to you in the weirdest of ways, and you'll go find those objects and you'll put them there. It's what it all goes with your energy and your intent.
And I think too that the altar should reflect you. It's almost like this extension of yourself. So taking care of your altar is really important, I feel.
Making sure that it's clean.
Making sure that it's clean, because it does reflect a part of you in a physical form. I think altars is one of my favorite things about being a witch, and I don't have a big one. Actually, I kind of do. My altar right now is my bookshelf, which is strange, but my bookshelf that I built with my husband, and I actually filled it with all my books, and I filled it with stuff from our wedding. My bouquet is on there, pictures and art that my friends have given me. I put my tarot cards are in there, just all the things, my skulls, all my little like figurines and stuff that I have that would be on my altar. I just stuck them in my bookshelf. I'm like, oh my God, that's my altar. That's exactly, and I see it every day that I wake up. And
I know, and some people make like a portable altar. They make like a smaller altar that's a portable altar that you can take with you. You have your things in a box, a special box. Some people like to take their altars out into the woods and, keep it with them close. Some people do that, and an altar can be a table, it can be a shelf, it can be the floor, it can be whatever you want it to be.
It doesn't have to be much.
Exactly.
It really does. Even like a tiny little satchel. I had one for a while. It's almost like this little box, and I had in it everything that reminded me of some of the people that passed away. I had art from my friend who passed away about 5 years ago. I had the candle from the memorial, from my friend's Nick's memorial service, and I still have it actually, that I didn't let it burn all the way down, so I could keep some of it for my altar, and little things.
And that's a really great idea too, Sarah, because if you're not quite out of the broom closet yet and you want something to keep with you, then you can have a portable altar and pick yourself a beautiful box.
Yeah.
And just put your magical things in there. Put stones that mean something to you. A candle.
Your tarot cards.
Yeah, tarot cards.
Book,
a wand. I mean, it's whatever is special to you, whatever resonates and vibrates with you at that time. It might not always.
Yeah. It switches out all the time.
You might switch it out. So I guess what we're saying about altars here in general is that an altar is an extension of you and your intentions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to always stay the same. It can change with how your energy changes. It can change with the day. It can change with the hour. Whatever works for you. But an altar is an extension of who you are. You should be able to look at your altar, and if you didn't know it was you, you'd know it was you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it should reflect you. And if somebody comes to your house and sees it, they'll be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. And I kind of love that. I hope someday that I can actually have like a bigger altar space, and I have this dream, this vision in my head of having. I love outside altars. To mention that too, outside altars are amazing, and that's what what graveyards are to me. Almost like this group altar, altar that so many people can be part of. But like people leave flowers and stuff. But in my garden, I always create this tiny little altar, and I put my little figurines and just. That's where I sit and meditate, and I cannot wait to have that again. I
do something similar when I travel. I take little pieces with me, little crystals. I have a little Buddha that I take, a little travel Buddha that I take with me, and I always put it on the nightstand. And that's my little travel altar that I take with me. And
it doesn't have to be complicated.
You know what? I don't mean to dive into another topic, but I'm going to dive into this really quickly.
No, it's okay.
I was reading yesterday that every cemetery, because you were talking about cemeteries, every cemetery has a guardian. And it is usually the first person who was buried in that cemetery. Did you know that?
No.
And that proper etiquette when you go into a cemetery could be offering a gift or asking to come in. That guardian is in charge of, or helping to clean up.
I love
that. Things like that. That the first person buried there is the guardian of the cemetery.
When we go today, let's find the oldest grave.
Yes.
There. That would be such a fun thing to do.
Yes.
I would love that. No, I didn't know that.
Yes, I read that yesterday, and I read that that's why some people bury a dog or cat as the first in a cemetery.
Really?
Yeah.
See, there's so much. I love this. There's so much we don't know.
I don't know why I talked about that, because we were talking about altars and it had nothing to do with altars, but that's
okay.
the randomness of mindful witchery. But guys, if you have any questions at all about altars, if what we said, if you made questions come up for you, feel free to message us, because even though it is about intent, sometimes it really is hard to get started, and there are some general things that you could put on your altar to kind of get you started. You could put a little cauldron with sage or an herb in it. You could put a candle.
Essential oil.
Yes, essential oil. Crystals. Yeah. A singing bowl.
Some nice fabric too.
Sure.
A lot of people have some type of tapestry over the table or wherever you put your altar on top of. I have so many scarves, it's ridiculous. So I usually change mine out depending on the season. You just go for it. It could be as cheesy or as serious as you need it to be. I have plastic animals on mine.
Sure. And you make it about you. Altars are about you and an extension of yourself. So there you go.
My friend Beth created my altar for my wedding. She created the most beautiful altar. I have pictures somewhere. I'll try to find them. I'll post them. But she put bird's feathers, and it was behind where we got married. It was like it was outside, and it was this almost like kind of tall stone pillar. And on the top, she put feathers and like stones and crystal. Lord, it was gorgeous. It was one of the most beautiful. I wish I could have just like froze it in time and picked it up and brought it home with me. It was so beautiful.
And speaking of that too, guys, if you have pictures of your altars, if you want to send them to us and show us what you have as an altar, it might be a great thing for beginning witches or for inspiration for all of us.
Yeah.
So feel free
I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. And the same thing with spells. Going back to spells, intention.
Yeah.
So don't worry about not having that pink candle.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about not having that green candle for the money spell.
I know. I once because I was trying to do a spell. I'm like, I don't have a green candle. I don't have a white candle. And I think back now. I'm like, oh my god. Like I had so many other candles in the house.
Intention.
And who cares if it's a Yankee Candle?
Yes.
It's not. It doesn't have to be some special.
That's mine. Mine are all
like candle.
Mine are all Yankee candles because I like the smell.
And we live down the street.
Yes,
and it's great. I love the smell too.
So if you have any questions about altars, or if you have any questions about spells,
and we can even dive further into a full episode.
Sure, absolutely. We just wanted to throw it out there and just see what kind of responses we got.
So Tom Hanks, altars, and spells,
and graveyard guardians.
Yes. All right, guys.
See you later.
Bye.